Okay, so we'll start off from the point of bringing in the picture frame of the headphones themselves, and then locking them, changing the transparency. I believe I put them on their own layer already. I'm going to draw on the layer on top of those. Here we go. So one thing I'm going to do right out of the gate is draw a center line down this just as reference for later on. Now I'll draw well, let me zoom in here. What I want to do is draw a curve that represents this parting line right here around the top and then back down to this side. And then everything to the right of this parting line, when I model it, will be on top of my line, and then everything below it will be below that line. So when I flow it, it'll look just like this, I'm hoping. So, alright, so I'm going to draw a line do a midpoint line, center here, go right on there, like that. I'm just going to mirror that over to the other side, like so. And I'm going to come in with one more line and just trim that down to about here. Use this, I'm going to trim that and that. Get rid of this line. I'm going to use the blend command. Curve, blend, adjustable curve, blend. Blend from this curve to this curve. I'm going to set it to G3 so I have a little bit more control over this. I'm going to hold shift, left click, so it will do a symmetrical pull on those control points. Get it down to there. Shift, left click, start pulling these out. It's going to take some massaging here to get it right. Let's see what we can do here. It's getting close. So I want to get this line right up on this parting line on the image. Kind of hard because I got to zoom out and then zoom back in to look at it. Looks good. So I hit enter. So here's my line that I made, or curve, along with these two curves. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim these down on the bottom, and I'm going to use my curve tangent from, or perpendicular from, draw something out like this. I want that to line up right here at the end, like that. I would take that and I'm going to mirror it over using my center line here to that side. I'll select both of these and use the trim button, trim command, trim those away. Take this curve, that curve, and this curve, and I'm going to join them together. So here's the foundation for the rest of the headphone here. I'm going to flow everything around this. I'm going to do analyze up here at the top. I'm going to analyze the length of this curve. I've got 467.96 millimeters. Forgot if I had scaled these yet or not. Let me do a quick dimension here. This side to this side. Yep, this was about 170 millimeters wide. That's good, so it's to scale. So I'll go back, analyze, length. We got 467.96 on the Mac. This will be in your lower left corner. That length will be. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to draw a straight line. That length right here. So looking at perspective view, I just drew basically this curve in the flat over here on the right. So I'll start modeling this shape over here now. So I'm going to go back to my side view, and I'm just going to throw down a quick couple dimensions here. Do dimension, linear, and let me go out to the very peak of this curve here, to the very peak of this side here. 61 millimeters for this overall circle here. And I'm going to do the headband too, see how wide that is. 29.37. And I've got a couple circles in here I want to grab some dimensions off of. 46, and one in the center. 24. And we do have the headphones themselves too. Overall shape or width 76, and we got this this guy here. Pull from the outermost point to the outermost point, and this will all make sense when I start building this out in circles on the right here. I'll do that right now. I'll just do it in this view, and then I'll flip it over when I'm done. So I'm going to draw a circle that represents let me throw one more dimension down here. Dimension aligned. Right here, and I'm going to go from the very top to right down here, and we got something that looks like that. Alright, so now I'm going to draw an oval that represents the earpieces themselves. So I'm going to come over here to my oval command, and I'm going to do this one right here. Ellipse diameter, let's try that. So I'm going to go 95, this length over here, 95.29 long, so 95.29, like that. And then I want to go to a width here of, see, overall width 68.79, like that. Oh, 95.29, enter, and then 68.79, 68.79, enter. There we go. So this, basically I'm going to copy paste that, is this piece right here on the left. It'll make more sense here in a minute. So let me draw a circle now that represents the outside of this earpiece here. We've got, what is that? Highlight in yellow. Oh, hang on. It should be 76.11. I did a wrong measurement here, so I'm going to repeat this command. Again, I'm using the oval ellipsoid command here, this one here, 95.29, enter. I actually want this 76.11, 76.11. There, that looks a little better. And then I'm going to draw a circle that actually represents this line here. I'll go to the center, make sure my center object snapped is on. Click to the center, and that is 76.11. 76.11, enter. A little too big. Sorry. Hang on. this one? 68.79. There we go. 68.79. Enter. Alright. Then I want to go this dimension, 6120. 61.20. And then I want to go this dimension, 4657. 46.57. And then I want the center button here on the beats, 2448. 24.48. So basically this curve and this curve we will use later, and that's going to represent our headphones here, the earpieces themselves, but I'll hide that for right now. And so we're left with this line, which is representative of, I'll draw a circle here real quick so you have an idea where I'm at. That really represents kind of this outermost circle here. Which we want to blend to this headband. So the headband itself is 29.37. I'll just call it 30. I'm going to take this curve and offset it 15. So curve, offset, offset, curve. I'm going to type in 15, enter, offset it that way. I'm going to repeat the command. I'm just going to hit enter to repeat it. And I'm going to go 15 millimeters this way. So that gives us a dimension of 30 millimeters between the two of these guys, which represents this headband width over here on the left. And now we see a blend on the side of these, and I'll show you where that is here. Let's throw down a quick curve. We got this blend happening here, which I want to put in over here. So to do that, I just draw a line back here like so, and I'm going to trim here and here. I'm looking at my image here on the side, and it looks like it starts to blend kind of at the, this is 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock positions here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to draw a line about that same position here and on the other side, and we'll see how this looks. Use these to trim this away. May or may not work. Let's check it out. So I'm going to do a curve blend again. Adjustable curve blend. Click here, click here. You see it goes in to try to blend this. I'm going to go ahead and put this just on curvature over here instead of G3. I don't need to be G3 on this. And then I'm actually going to see, I'm going to drag this back a little bit. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disable all my object snaps too as I do this command. It just makes it operate a little bit smoother. There we go. So I pulled this back. I'm looking at the headphones themselves. I'm just trying to gauge of what that blend looks like. That looks pretty good. Looks a little bit more subtle than what I have here. Maybe not. Yeah, doesn't look quite subtle enough. So I'm going to re-blend this one more time. Curve, blend, adjustable curve, blend. Click here and here. I'm going to pull this back just to make it a little bit more subtle. Maybe go to G3 on this one. Let's see what that'll do. Yeah, I'm liking that better. So I'm going to pull this. I'm going to mirror it to the other side using my center line here. I'll turn my object snaps back on. Click to the end here. Just mirror it over to that side. I'm going to use this piece to trim back this line here. So those join there. We got something that looks like that. Also gonna have to trim this back or split it with this. Take that little tail there and delete that. Now again, this is a symmetrical set of headphones, so I can just model one side and basically mirror it to the other side when we're all done. So I won't worry about trying to repeat this whole process for the other side yet. Okay. Now that we have this built here, I'm going to just flip everything over. So I'm going to select all this and go to my right view here. And under my quick tools here, I have rotate. I'll rotate that from the center here, like that. So now I look at it from this front view, it's flat, but I can go to my top view, and it looks like this. So I'll work with that like that. You can see what I'm doing here in the 3/4 view. We have going on. These dimensions I don't need for the time being. But there are some dimensions I do want to pull now over here. One being, there is I'm going to do dimension aligned. I'm going to look between here and here. I got about 5 millimeters, 5.34. So I've got this, actually no, that's not what I want. I want this one here. From here to here, 4.2 millimeters. Take it one more time. I'll go from here. Yeah, 4.2. So what I'm going to do is actually this circle here. I'll move this one at the same time. I go to my side view. I'm going to type in move, enter. I'm going to click off here in space, type in 4.2, enter, and move that up like that. And I'm going to add some profile curves in here. So we're now just starting to work in the 3D. For the time being, I'm going to hide this center point line here. And I'm going to add an arc right here, this arc start end direction arc. I go from the quad here to the quad here, go to a side view. I'm going to put an arc in here, but looking at the headphones, there's a slight concave happening. So I don't want it perfectly flat. I'm going to have a little bit of a concave like that. And I want the same profile on the other sides of this too. So what I'll do, I'll just do a mirror command. So I'm going to mirror, and I'm going to lock to the center, and I can lock to my 45 here and mirror it that way. I'll lock to the center and I'll mirror it over there too. So now I have these 3 profiles here. And then we've got another profile too to look at, and that is the band itself. The band up here has a slight arc to the top of it. So I'm going to come over here, use that arc command again, lock to the end and end, go to my side view, and I eyeball this arc kind of like that. So I got this arc, those 3 profiles. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to mirror this profile over one more time. Actually, I'll mirror this one to the opposite side. I go to my top view here, mirror from the center to that side, like that. Now I don't want this end of it, but I am going to do a curve extend curve by arc. I'm going to extend this up like so. And when you do an extend by arc, it extends that curve, but it keeps that same arc that it has originally. If I would have said just extend curve, it would have made an exact straight line off the end of this arc, but I wanted to continue the arc. So I've got a little bit concave even at the top here. So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to split it with this circle here. Delete the bottom. I don't need that anymore. I just wanted it to create this arc up on top. And I'm going to draw a straight line right off this piece here like so. I just drew these so I can do a nice blend between those. So I'm going to do a curve, blend, adjustable curve, blend. I'm going to click here, and you get this going on. So I'm going to go curvature on both of them. I'm going to go to a side view so we can adjust this nicely. And what I don't want is a dip below the surface over here. So I'll see if I can pull this up to avoid that dip. I'm liking this a little better. Maybe blend it out a little more. Let's start with that, and if I have to tweak it, I'll tweak it here in a bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hide that. I'm going to use a command called patch. There's a lot of different ways you can surface this. Patch will be kind of the quickest way to do it. It won't be as accurate as I like, but I think it'll do a pretty decent job. So first of all, I'm going to take this perimeter arc here, or line work, join all that together. That's all one piece. That's one piece. I'm going to use that. Yep. And use this. Alright, so one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this curve here and I'm going to do surface extrude curve straight. Extrude curve straight. I'm going to extrude it this way. So if I shade it, this is really the only surface we have in here right now. Is that. I just made that. Everything else is curve work. And now I will do a surface patch, which is right here. It says select curves in your patch. So I'm going to select this perimeter curve. Not this curve or this arc that I made, but I'm going to use the edge of that surface instead. Select that. I'm going to select this. I'm going to select these profiles. Hit enter. Dialog pops up. It says, hey, here's some your settings. Whenever you're playing with patch, definitely go in and tweak these as needed to get your desired result. I like to have adjust tangency on, so it will try to adjust and blend into the surface that I made here. And then automatic trim. Go ahead and you can hit preview. So it will try to create a patch or surface to blend all that together. One thing that I noticed is I'm getting some raised edges here. So I may increase the sample point spacing. Maybe that will tighten that up. Let's hit preview again. If not, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to be completely perfect on this right out of the gate. Yeah, it didn't fix it that much. So in that case, I could pump up the U and V spans, which are, you see these lines right here? Those are the U and V spans. I can dial those up, and that may help with some of the accuracy. Hit a preview. So it took a little bit longer to figure that out because we increased the U and V spans. Yeah, there's still a little bit of rise here and a little bit of dip here. Not perfect. But at the end of the day, I may be able to kind of finesse that a little bit, make it work. Something else you can try. I'm going to dial this back down to 50 and 50, and I'm going to adjust the stiffness 0.001. Let's see what that does. Notice I think stiffness is one of the one variables that gives you the most amount of change, desired or not desired, but I'm going to change this to 1 once to preview. So that's at 1, but it's still not doing what I want on this edge. It's not quite blending it as good as I wanted. I'm getting a pretty big dip right here. So something I'm going to do before I get going too far, instead of having an arc here, I'm just going to go up with a straight line. So I'm going to do curve, extend curve by line, not arc, by line. So this is just a straight line now. I'm going to go ahead and explode this, get rid of that blend. Maybe I'll even just look at what would this patch look like without having another profile curve in here. So I'll do a surface patch, that outside edge like so, this curve, this, and this. Let's preview. Still raising up and down on that edge. It's got a nice blend here though. I didn't have to. Let's hit OK. Let's see what this looks like. I'll go ahead and analyze surface environment map. Now if you remember last time we did this demo, I was getting some really funky results in here. Now it's pretty smooth. The only thing I don't like is that little raise in the lip over here on the right, but it's such a small, we're talking 0.5 millimeter here. Very small detail that I could probably live with for right now. But ultimately I'm going to take, the reason I had this profile curve in here when I did the patch is so I know when I grab the surface now I can split it with this profile. And I can get rid of this. And I know that this is a perfect circle, perfect flat. I can build off of that later. So I can live with that. Let's do that. Now I'm going to continue with the curve work. I'm going to go ahead and hide this right now. Looking on the headphones themselves, got about a 1 millimeter or 0.86, 0.9 millimeter drop right here, so, or a sidewall. So I'm going to grab these curves here from a side view. I'm going to do a control copy paste and move this down 0.8 like so. Again, working in the 3D, but you can imagine later on I'm going to have a little bit of a wall right here. And that's why I added that line down here. So that's looking good. Now this piece has a slight concaveness to it with a button in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that arc command right here, from here to here, go to a side view, add a slight arc in here like so. I'll zoom out so you can see that. I put an arc right here. I'm going to do a surface revolve. Surface revolve. I'm going to go from the center point right here. Go to side view, holding shift and a left click down here so I get a nice straight axis for that to revolve around. Hit enter, enter. Let's see what this looks like. So you get that. So if I unhide that surface, you're getting this type of look. So I'm going to grab this guy here again, this curve. Now there's some parting lines, and these are different surfaces on the headphones themselves. This is actually a button, this yellow piece I have highlighted. So what I'm going to do is add some walls to this. I'm going to grab this curve right here, go to a side view, take this, this, and this, hide this. Okay. Got this curve here. Go to side view. I'm going to hit Control, Copy, Paste. I'm going to use my arrow keys and just tap this down a couple like so. That's deep enough. What I'm going to do, for example, this surface, I'm just going to do a hide inverse so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make a center wall here, or an inside wall. So I'm just going to do a surface loft. I'm going to loft this edge with this circle down here. Enter, hit OK. So I created this center wall here. I'm going to take the center wall, this outer piece, and just join those together right now. I'm going to grab this curve again. I'm going to unhide. I'm going to grab this center piece here. I'm going to hide inverse. So now what we have is this surface here that I revolved, and then this curve, this exact same curve again. I'm going to do surface loft from here to here. Enter, enter, hit OK. Take this new surface and this surface and join those together. Hit unhide. So now I have this with the wall and the center piece with the wall. So when I add a fillet to both these edges, or to this edge on both the pieces, it'll look like a really nice parting line there. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to repeat the process for the center of this piece here. You remember what I'm doing right now is this will be a parting line that I just made, and I'm going to go ahead and add this in the center here. So I'll just use this piece, and here's my, do a hide inverse. This is the center button profile right here. So I'm going to take this surface. I shall take this here. Control, copy, paste. Just bring it down a little bit. I'm going to take this surface. I'm going to split it using one of these curves. Doesn't matter which one. There, I just split it. So now I have this outside surface and this inside surface. So I'm going to grab this outside surface and this curve that I moved down a bit. I'm going to hide inverse. I'm going to do surface loft again. Surface loft here to here. Enter, enter. I created this little ledge on the inside. I'll take that surface, this surface, and join those together. But this curve is still here. When you do a loft and you create a surface, nothing happens to the curve. It still lives on. So I'm going to unhide, grab the center surface that's left over. I'm going to do a hide inverse so you see what I'm doing. We just have this surface only. So I'll do a surface loft, this edge to this curve. Enter, enter, hit OK. I'm going to join these two surfaces together. and we have this. That, unhide. So we got this surface, and this surface, and they all have ledges on them, or walls, so I can fillet those and we'll have nice parting lines at the end of the day. What else do we have on this piece? It's looking pretty good for right now. All right. On the edge here, you notice there's a couple parting lines above Studio. A parting line here and one below it. And that's what we'll create next here. So this is the original length or center point of the whole design here. I'm just going to draw a line right down the middle or at the midpoint here just as a reference. So I know this is the center of the design all the time. I'll even lock that just so it's there and I know it's there. I'll go ahead, I can delete this little surface. I'm going to do a surface, extrude curve straight, extrude that out to that center point like so. So we have this. And now I have something I could split and make this center piece here. Actually, I'll add this parting line last. I add this detail last, and it'll make a little bit more sense later on. So I'll keep it all the same right now. So just as a quick test, I'm going to take this surface. Oh, let's do this. Remember, I had taken this wall or created a wall here to blend to. I'm going to go ahead and split that down the middle. Use split. I'm going to use this to split it. Didn't work. Here, I'll use this just to trim them. Trim that, trim that. There we go. I'm going to take this curve, that curve, and this curve and join them together. That. Another thing I might do, I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this surface and this curve. I'm going to hide inverse so you can see what's going on. Here's a new command for you. I'm going to do curve from object. Curve from object, duplicate edge. This comes in really handy. I use it a lot. Curve from object, duplicate edge. I'm going to left click this and it says, alright, what edges do you want to duplicate? So I'm going to select this edge, and that edge over there and hit enter. And so what it did is it created a curve based off that edge. And remember, I had a little funky edge happening over here, so I rebuilt this curve anyway. So now I got this one giant curve. I'm going to join it all together. So now I can just do a surface loft, and I can use that new curve I just made. Oh, hang on, it's not joined to anything here. Oh, there it is. So I got two curves buried there. Alright, let me do this again. Surface, loft. I'll select this new profile curve there. This bottom. This guy here. Hit enter. And that's not working. Let's try this again. I'm going to select this curve and this curve. I'm going to just hide inverse so you can see what I'm doing. Got these two curves. I should be able to loft them together. So surface, loft, this and this, enter. There we go. Except something's funky happening over here. Let me try this. Normal. Preview. Straight sections should be correct. Rebuild. And let's try this option instead. There we go. So I had to use the refit within 0.001 millimeter option to get that to loft correctly. So you can see it rises up here where that surface was a little funky when I did the patch, but I know that it's completely flat on the bottom because that was a new curve that I created down below. I hit OK. So now I have this wall here that if I unhide, I can take this surface and this, I guess that's all together, and join it. So I've got this now. Now, let me just hide everything else for a minute. Like that. I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Flip this over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do surface from, actually, surface from planar curves. Surface from planar curves or flat curves. Where is it? Right here. Surface planar curves. I'm going to select that curve there and this curve. They're flat, they're joined together. Hit enter and it creates one flat surface there. I'm going to take that flat surface, join it to the rest of this, hit join, there we go. Now I'll use one more command, use solid cap planar holes. So it'll look at this poly surface and it'll look for all the flat planar holes and cap them. So I just created a cap here, and it probably did over here too, which is fine for right now. We got that. Shade this. Let me unhide here real quick. Now I'm not adding fillets to anything yet, because as soon as you add fillets, it's hard to go back. So we're going to keep it unfilleted for a while in case we have to make any changes. Do the fillets as the final piece. But we have this surface here, this surface, this happening. I'm going to go ahead and just mirror these over for right now. Like so. I'll select these also. I'm going to group these together for a second by hitting Control G. It groups them temporarily, so if I select one, it selects all of them. Here's that center line that we can use to flow on. I'm actually going to move that, or actually move this whole piece up for a minute. Move that quad. I'm going to hit Tab. Something like that. So make sure we're on the right track here. So I'll do the flow command to make sure this is going to work. So I'm going to select these grouped objects. I'm going to type in flow, enter, select base curve, which is this guy right here. Select target curve, right here. Let's see how this is looking. Looks like it floated okay. I'm going to go ahead and, while we're here, I'll do a analyze curve graph on, or actually, sorry, analyze surface environment map. And one thing I'm noticing is it's not flowing correctly because I had my headphones are actually beyond. Yeah, I'll show you why. Right now, here's the flow. But notice how it's stopping short of the original design. This needs to be out at the edge of this curve, which just means I have to move this whole piece down to this end here, which is fine. Didn't catch that before, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-Z, undo all that. I'm going to ungroup, hit Shift Control-G to ungroup stuff, delete that, delete that, delete that. I'm going to grab these, this, actually I'll grab everything here. Actually, I won't grab anything, I'll just move the line. So I'm going to type in move, enter, move the line from this point. I'm holding shift and kind of leaning out here on the left. And I'm going to tap tab so it's locked to moving this direction. And I'm going to pull that out here till it locks to this quad. Select center, lock to here. There we go. So I just move that curve to the right, like so. Now that's going to change our center point too. So I'm going to hit the unlock button here. Move that line that I drew for center point. I'm going to draw a new line. There's our new center point. So how do I extend this out to here? Let me try a tool here. It's called, you can do solid. There's solid edit tools, and you can probably use these quite a bit later on. Solid edit tools. It's under solid edit tools. Face, I'm going to move face. So I'm going to select this face. And it says, all right, where do you want to move it? So I'm going to start here, hold shift, hit tab so it stays on that trajectory, and then I'm going to come out here and snap to that end. And let's see if it will move that for us. It's thinking. I'm surprised it's taking this long. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Yeah, I'm not liking this. I'm going to hit escape and see if it will let me escape here. It did finally work, but this is a good reminder to save your work. Now, I just did that solid face move tool, and it worked kind of. If I come back here, it looks like it messed up the surface here. So first of all, I'm going to do a Control-Z to undo it. You see that that's back to normal down here. I'm going to try a different way to extend this surface out to the center. First of all, I'm going to do a file save as. Cancel. I'm going to do a file incremental save. File incremental save. Yes, replace. There we go. I'm going to do a solid extract surface. So whenever you have a solid all joined together like this, but there's one surface you want to remove and keep working on that part, do solid extract surface. I'm going to extract just the surface, hit enter. Now I can delete that out of the way, like so. And I'm also going to delete this bottom surface. I'm going to repeat the command and select this bottom piece right here and delete that. So now I'm back to where we had built these edges here and all that good stuff. I'm going to do surface extend surface, and let me see if it'll let me grab. It doesn't. So I'm going to try to do something here. I might just have to go back and rebuild this a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit solid, extract surface again. This bottom edge here. There, and I'm going to just delete that out of the way. I'm going to grab these lines here. And I can do a curve extend. Curve extend by line. And I can just extend this curve out if I wanted to the center point. Same thing over here, extend that out to the center point. I'm going to do a solid extract surface. This guy here, delete that. I'll do a surface extrude curve straight. Next, oops. I extrude this edge straight out to that new center point also. So we got something like that. That is the old line. I'm going to delete that. Delete that. Curve, extend curve by line. Pull that out to there. Okay. So remember, I've got this bottom curve here. That's not what I want. There we go. Oh, is that right? Yeah. To delete that. Sorry, got lines over lines here. I'm getting a little confused. Make sure I get this all joined together. Alright, so there's my bottom profile. And then I want to join these together, like so. And I'm going to do the curve from object again. Remember that command, curve from object, duplicate edge. I'm going to duplicate this edge, and that edge. Hit enter. I'm going to join those together while they're still selected, like so. And I'm going to select this bottom profile, and I'll just hit surface loft. And remember, it remembers my last selection. I had refit with 0.001. I'm okay with that. Hit OK. Now we have this new sidewall with this top surface here. I'm going to join all that together, just like that. Now I could just take all of this right now. I'm going to mirror it to the other side, like so. I'll join these together, these two pieces. With those joined together, I could just use the surface or solid cat planar holes, and it'll take this poly surface, and it notices that this whole bottom is flat, so it will create a surface right there for me. So solid cat planar holes, so the bottom's solid. There we go. Okay, so let's take this one more time and let's flow it and make sure it's looking right. Now flow is a pretty heavy command. As soon as this starts getting more complicated, we add fillets and add buttons and lights and graphics and everything else. It's going to get more difficult to flow this. It'll take longer. So in that case, I'm going to do another incremental save, just in case I do this command and it starts to crash on me. So remember that new line should be in here. There it is. Alright, so I will go ahead and I'm going to group all these poly surfaces and solids together here. Control G. I'm going to type in flow, enter, select base curve. It's hard to see because it's kind of buried right underneath the surface, but all I have to do is select right here. It did find it, so there's that curve, and that says select your target curve, which is this right here. So let me go to a front view. You can see that it's flowing. It's looking a little bit. Now mine, I don't have coming in quite on the angle that this image shows, but the overall geometry is flowing pretty close to what the artwork shows here. So that's looking good. Go to side view here. I'd select this whole piece. Make sure there's no warpage. I know this is a perfect circle from that angle and it's looking really good. I'll analyze, surface, environment map. It's taking a second to think. There we go. I'll go ahead and hit shade while it's in that mode. I'll look at the surface and make sure there's no funny stuff happening. Like this, for example, there's something happening here. I don't know why it's doing that. It's like that over here too. It's got a little bit of a jump here. Something I'll work on later. But overall, it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that for now. Now come back here and let's do these headphone pieces real quick. Well, actually, the bottom of this band, we did the top half of it, which is in this image, this area right here we did. Now I got to do the negative side, or the B side, which is this underneath, which includes the puffy band part that goes on your head. This piece here. So if looking at this, it's almost a mirror image. When I look at the headphones themselves, it's almost like they took this outside surface and mirrored it over on itself, except you have this band in the middle. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take this piece from a side view. I'm going to mirror it over on itself, like so. Like that. And I do notice that it has a little bit thicker wall on it, so I'm going to move this down like so. Curve there I want, and I want this bottom. Hide inverse for right now. So here's the bottom piece, but I need to make this come down, get thick, and then back to thin. And I also need to have a little bit thicker wall thickness up here instead of what was on the other piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do a solid extract surface. Extract this and this. Hit enter, delete. So I'm back to this original shape here. I'm also going to go ahead and do a solid extract surface, this piece and this piece. Extract this over here, delete that. Take this, I'm going to mirror this over to the other side, like that. Now, I'm going to go to a side view here. And I'm going to draw a curve, interpolated points curve, from the midpoint here until the midpoint over here. This guy right here, and I'll show you from a side view what that looks like. Got this curve from here to here. 3/4 view, you can see where I just drew that curve. Now I'm going to add a little arc to this. So pay attention here. This is good stuff. So I have this interpolated points curve that I just made from here to here. If I turn the points on, I come over here to my points on command, I left click that, I have 4 points total, 1 on each end and 2 in the middle. So if I grab these 2 in the middle and I bring them down to create this arc that I want between my head pieces here, or headband, notice you have a break in your curvature here. It's not even tangent. It just goes from straight, then all of a sudden it starts an arc out this way, and I don't want that. So I'm going to come back here. I'm still going to use that same curve command. I made it interpolated points. I'm going to turn the points off by right-clicking on the points on icon. I'm going to select that curve. I'm going to do Edit, Rebuild. I'm going to rebuild it. Instead of 4 points, I'm going to do 6 with a degree of 3. Hit OK. And now when I turn the points on, you notice I have 6 points. And I'm going to leave these 2 points where they are. I'm also going to leave these 2 points where they are. But I can take these 2 points in the middle and now pull those down. And you'll notice that because we have these 2 extra points on the edge, and that they're planar with these points, or in the same axis, it lets this flow, at least G1. So that will give us a nice blend here. And the only way you can do that is to make sure you have these points here, even with this point. If I were to move this point at all, this way or this way, it creates a knot here. It's not going to be curvature continuous or even tangent. So I'll hit Control Z. But I can move it this way, in and out, as far as I want, because it's still telling it, alright, blend, or have the momentum coming this direction, because I got my control point here. So it'll still have a blend here, but the arc will just happen a lot faster. So it's good to have 6 control points on if you're going to create your own blends like I'm doing here. And if you do move one side, for example this curve, if I tap it over with my arrow keys, make sure you move the other side the same amount so it's symmetrical when you're all done. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the headbands here and just see how thick they are in the middle. I've got about 13, let's call it 13 millimeters. So I'm going to draw a line right in the middle here, 13 millimeters down, just as a reference point. I'll take these 2 control points, I'm going to bring those up like that, get this a little bit closer to the thickness I'm looking for in the middle, maybe a hair less, there we go. And then the blend I guess I'm pretty happy with, let's go with that. Maybe, it looks like it goes a little bit sharper in the actual headphones I have here, so I'll tap those over 10 millimeters each to the outside there. Now that I have this arc in the middle, I can look at this in 3D so you can see what I did. There's a couple ways we can do this now. Still want to have a line from here. Actually, let's select this. No, it's okay. Hide inverse. So we've got this happening. And now I'm going to also add a line from here to that edge. I'll just mirror that to the other side so it's everything's symmetrical, like that. So we got two ends and then 3 profiles here. And there's a couple different ways you can do this to create a surface between these. I can do surface sweep 2 rails, and I can select this as a rail and this as a rail, and then select these as my profiles, 1, 2, 3 profiles, hit enter, and you get this. I'll hit OK so you can see what that looks like. Not a big fan, it really gets very pointy here in the middle, and I want more of a subtleness there, subtle arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another profile right in the middle, just so I can start finessing this. I'm not letting Rhino dictate what shape I want. I'm going to tell Rhino what shape I want. So I'm going to come in here with the arc command. I'm going to go midpoint here to this quad here. And I want more of this type of profile in the middle. not that pointy profile it was giving me. But I can't do the Surface Sweep 2 rails anymore. But I can do Surface from Curve Network. Surface from Curve Network. It says select curves and networks. I'm going to select this outside edge, that curve, this outside edge, and this curve. And then these two. And that hit preview. And it lets you surface it this way. Hit OK. So now I get this really nice subtle blend happening between those two. And it looks a lot more like what I wanted. So grab that and this, join it together. I'm just going to do a quick analyze, make sure there's no seams or something funky happening. Let's flip it over here. I'm looking for just a nice blend here, which it has. So I've got this underside complete. I have to add a wall thickness to it yet, which I'll do right now. A hide inverse. So just like we did with the top, I've got this profile curve up here. I'm going to mirror it to the other side. I'm going to do that loft command again. I'm going to join these together. I'm going to do a curve from object. Duplicate edge. And I'm going to just duplicate these edges here real quick. Like that. Join those together. And now I'm going to do a surface loft. Surface, loft, this curve and this curve. Enter. Refit. Yep, looks good. So I got this going on. Take that and that, join those together. Get that. So now when I unhide everything, I'm going to keep that. Actually, when you build your geometry over the curve that you're flowing on, you can always move that curve away. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take that, if I can find it in here. Unshade here. There we go. There's a curve right here. Come on. Right here. Here's my curve. I'm going to tap this way, like that. Because I can still use it to flow on. So for example, I'll select this top surface that we made originally. I'm going to select my new bottom surface, which is right there. I'm going to type in flow, enter. I'm going to still flow on this, using this as my base curve. This is my target curve. And it'll still flow it, but it'll flow it out here in space, not right on my curve, not right on my target curve. It'll be respecting that same distance from this curve. You'll see. So I have that. I look in the center. Now I have this arc for my headband. We look at it from a front view and see how close we are. Looks like I could have had it a little bit thicker, a little bit longer here on the ends, but for this example I think it'll be alright. The center is looking really pretty close to right on to what we wanted. There's still something happening. See if it's happening to the centerpiece too. If I analyze environment map, shade, I'm getting an artifact here. It's like splitting this thing right down the line here. It's also doing it to the centerpiece, but looking at everything else, it's looking pretty decent. Notice I haven't added any fillets or other parting lines yet, like these parting lines up here in the band. But everything else is looking pretty good. So let's do these headphones. Get those pieces flowing on here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just undo. I don't need to have that over there yet. I'm going to take these and I'm going to go ahead and rotate these. Like so. We did with the others. Like that. And let me go ahead and hide inverse. What we're gonna do, that's the round circle part is represented right here. This is the round circle area. I believe. No, that's the oval area. This is gonna be the round circle area right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, to create this headphone is actually pretty easy. Just got to create one profile, and I'm going to do a couple sweeps, and then all of a sudden you have this piece already done. That's going to be pretty quick. So I'm going to just go to a side profile here. Okay, that's funky. I'm going to just come down here at this bottom piece and I'm going to draw it's kind of a slight arc. Go ahead and draw from this point to this point, and it does have a slight arc to it. Do something like that. I'm going to do another one from here to here, put a little bit of arc on that. Then do this one more time. Do here to here, put a little, actually I'll do it from here to here, put a little bit of arc on there, like so. That's not quite right. Here to about here. I'm going to do this. Alright, so first I'm going to draw a midpoint. I'm going to trace this whole thing out, make sure we're nice and accurate. I'll draw something like this right here. I'm going to hit Control Copy Paste. I'm going to tap that over to about here. Control Copy Paste. Pull that over to here. Control copy paste and pull that out to here like that. So I'm just putting in some control lines here. I'll do it one more time. Pull that to here-ish, somewhere in there. And then I'm going to use that line from tangent, which is right here. And I'm going to come off of here and I'm going to draw a line here like that. I'll draw another one down here like so. And now I'm going to come in with an arc. I'll start it. Let's make sure near is on. Start it here. I'm going to come to this intersection. It's going to have a slight dip to it, which is okay. Come to here to no. I'll draw one more line, tangent from here to here. Let's do that. Okay. So I'm just drawing a bunch of control lines here. Being as accurate as I can be off a photo. I'll come in here, do something like that. That looks a little bit better. And then I come in from this end to here and then arc that out to about there. And then I'm going to come in here to here and do something like that. So I've got this piece, that piece, that piece. This piece has a little bit of a curve off of it like that. So I just created a profile. So now I'm going to grab this profile. I'll even draw another line here so we have that. Make control copy paste. Just going to move this all over here like this. And I'm going to rotate this whole thing straight down, like so. Liking that. I go 3/4 view here. I'm going to move this to the quad here, like that. And this round circle, it's that top piece, and then the bottom is the oval. This will make a little bit more sense when I'm done building it here, but I'm going to move this down. I might have to tweak some things, which I will, to there. What I'm going to do is move these two arcs out to the quad here, and I'm going to redraw this line from here to here, like that. Actually, that was more of an arc. So I'm going to do my arc command here, go from that end to that end / quad, go to a side view. You can see what I'm drawing here. Just a little bit of an arc, like so. And this is eventually going to be a parting line right there. So I can delete that now, delete that, delete that. I've got this arc, this and this. I've got two rails here essentially. And I noticed on the side profile of these earpieces, I have another arc another profile here, quad to quad. I'm going to go to side view here. And they're not concave anymore. They're a little bit pushing out here. Let's see, something more. It's kind of eyeballing it somewhere in here. I'll take that and mirror it to the other side. Like that. So now we can do this. I'm going to mirror this to the other side too. Like that. Now you can't see this in the image, but I have it on my headphones here. I'm going to do a curve offset. Offset curve. I'm going to do a through point so I can just kind of eyeball this. Very small ledge up here. Like so. That comes down on an angle. Kind of like this. And there's something happening in the middle here. Center. I'm going to split this. If you ever have a curve and you just want to split it, you can do a curve. You can just use the split command. And instead of selecting another curve to split this, you just tell it point. And this will be over on the left on your Mac. If you just say point, then you can just click on this thing and it should be split there. Like that. So I didn't use another line to split it, I just chose point. So I created this profile here. I add a little line here too. Like that. I'm going to join all that together. Like so. Let me finish up this profile down here. I'm going to go to side view here. That comes in. I draw another arc from this point to something right around here. I'm just trying to draw a profile of this headphone piece here, and then it has a little bit of a cushion in the middle. Comes down. Let me use my calipers to measure how deep these go. It's 15 millimeters. I type in 15, enter, goes to here, and has a slight arc out like that. And it does have a little bit of a return underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a regular line from here to here. And if I was going to fillet this, sometimes I just like to draw curves, or I use my circle tool, and I'll do circle tangent, tangent to 3 curves. And I'll select this and just turn that off and select that. So now I can just kind of eyeball how big I want to make this fillet here. I'm going to select that right there, and I'll just select everything, trim that away like that. So I got that going on. I'm going to take that, delete that. And there's one more thing. Okay, we'll just go with that. So I got this. I'm going to join those together. So I got this profile and this profile. So now I can do this. I'm going to do actually I have to explode this for a second. And I got to grab this and this and this. I'll join those together. I'm going to mirror those. From my center point right here. Mirror one there. Mirror one there. And I'll mirror one to the other side too. So I just repeated that to those other cross sections. So I can take those and join those to there. Take that, join that to that. Same here. Alright, so now I'll do sweep two curves. So I'm going to do surface, sweep two curves, or rails. I'm going to select this rail, and then it says, alright, select your profile curves. Okay, I'm going to select this, that, and that. Hit enter. That's not right. Let's see. Preview. Close sweep, preview. It's looking something like that. Now, I'm not too worried about the inside here. That's going to be buried in this geometry. But I'm not liking that. So let's do this. I'm going to draw a circle here to here. And do this. Go ahead and take these cross sections. I'm going to split those with this curve. So now I got these things split right here, here, and here. So I take those and explode those. Like this. Alright. Let's do this again. Surface, sweep two rails. I'm going to sweep this rail and this rail with this cross sections, with these cross sections. Hit enter. Do a closed sweep. Make sure that checkbox is checked so it will continue, and I'll hit preview again. Now you see it's a closed sweep. I'm okay with that. Hit OK. So you notice it's not all wibbly wobbly in the middle because I added this other constraint here. Now I'll do a surface sweep two rails for this outside edge. So I got this rail's one, this rail's my second one. Here's my profiles. So I had this concave to convex to concave to convex. Hit enter. Again, I want to do a closed sweep. Hit preview. So you get this fairly, complex shape happening. It's a little concave here, but it goes to a convex out here. It's exactly what I wanted. Hit OK. But then I still have this gap up here, but I'm just going to simply do a surface from planar curves. I'll select this planar curve and this planar curve. Hit enter, and it'll create a surface in between them, like that. So I've got the top of my earpieces done. And now for the bottom, I'll just do a single sweep. So I'll do a surface, sweep one rail. I'll select this curve or edge is fine as my rail, and then just this one profile, this one right here. Hit enter, and I sweep that all in one go, like so. It's got that oval shape that I'm looking for. I'll hit OK, and now we have the beginning of the headphone. Now I'm going to eventually put some parting lines in here, add some stitching, some other things, but for right now the overall shape is correct. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to join these together for right now. I'm going to unhide so I can see how this is looking on my actual model. I'm going to go ahead and tap this down a little bit, like so. Something like this. Up in there. And I'll mirror that to the other side, like this. So here's what we have right now. Like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the flow, but I'm going to do the flow twice. And I'm going to do it twice because these earpieces are not warped. They do not conform to this shape at all. They rest on that shape, but they don't conform to it. So let me just grab that, this line, that surface, and these. Ooh, I didn't move that, did I? Hide inverse. I have a floating surface I never joined out here. Actually, I'm missing that whole surface. Hang on one sec. I'll select all this, unhide, grab the center surface too. There we go. Hide inverse. I take this surface and tap it down here to the right spot. There. Join that to this, to that. I'm just going to take this and delete it for right now, and I'll mirror this over. Alright, so because I have record history on, which is nice, I'll go ahead and I'm going to do these two shapes. I'll go ahead and flow those. Base curve, target curve is hidden. Hang on. Let me unhide, grab this target curve, and I'll hide everything again. There we go. Don't want my earpieces selected yet, so I'll go ahead and hit flow, enter. Oops, flow, enter. Base curve, target curve. I'll let that think. Alright, so that flowed. I'm sure we still have that little artifact issue that I'll resolve over break here, but so that flowed. Now I'm going to take the earphone pieces themselves. I'll repeat the flow command, but in the options, I'm going to, instead of rigid being no, I want them to be rigid. I'm going to say yes. So we'll place them on the target curve without changing the geometry of them. It'll just place them correctly. Here's my base curve. I'll select the target curve, and boom, there they are. So I'll go to the front view here, see how these are matching up. They look a little large compared to the originals, maybe a couple millimeters too long. But it's close. Something like this. Now I've got some nice solids here that we can start adding parting lines to and some other details. Can emboss some badging, those types of things, which I'll start next. But we'll take a little 10-minute break here. In the meantime, I'll try to figure out why it's doing this on this geometry and go from there.